to come up with my views, how we see when we engage with the people from outside organization to onboard them into our organization, what we look for. So feel free to make it a more interactive session. Feel free to ask questions. This is not more of an academic, but more of an interactive session. Then I would love to answer any of your questions. What I intend to cover is why. First of all, of course, what my agenda are, but of course, then we will talk about the communication skills. Why the industry and what I'll be looking for from the communication skill perspective. And then everything starting from resume to videos to interview preparation to everything else is actually follows through into the communication, your first impression with the industry. So then we will talk about what we should do for the in resume building, how we should work on the video based resumes, how we should prepare, and how it needs to align to what you are putting into the resume. We all the time when we meet people, and irrespective of the organization or the college, both in, and I have been part of the campus hiring in even in US and UK, and you will see that everywhere the student have the same problem, because this is the least bothered about thing that uh, they spend least time over 4 years. They think that they can just get some kind of a document prepared and they can just present it, and that doesn't meet the objective. Then suddenly what happens is somebody who is evaluating you is not listening to anything that you want to tell, but he is more dependent on what his question is. So we will talk about something, how we prepare for the interview, what we should cover, what not. And then we will also talk about something called emerging trends, which is very important because when I passed out of college, it was very different kind of a resume screening that was happening. Very different kind of things that people used to look for. And now when we go to the campus, we have different types of tools. So I'm Prabhat Kumar. I head global platforms and products. I have multiple center of excellence, artificial intelligence, cloud, enterprise architecture. We come with around 25 years of experience in data science and enterprise architecture. So understand a bit of this space, and I'm sharing my experience. So what we will be talking about here. So what we are talking about is why communication is the superpower. You don't realize it till the time you pass and you go into the market for example, for 2 3 years down the line. And a lot of people even after 10 years don't realize that what is the, because we Indian have a habit of overplaying our own communication skill, and we always think that okay, I am doing 100% well. Well, that's your thought, but communication is all about making your thoughts visible to others. Whether other people are getting your thoughts or not, that's key. So we'll talk about why communication is the superpower. I'm not sure how many of you have ever heard about ATS, ATS friendly resumes. So we will talk about something called ATS. It's very important, and we would once we go into that section, you will realize what we are talking about and why it is so important. Then we'll talk about video resumes, why it is important, who should do it, who should not. And then we will also talk about interviews. What are some of the basic hygiene that we should be following, right? And then also we will tell, I understand that most of you are from first year. So I would also like to share some thoughts around how your whole building of your resume and what should go into ultimately you are also taking care throughout your career roadmap. And then we will also talk about how this generative AI and remote hiring, and what are the things related to generative AI and remote hiring that is happening in the industry that you will face for sure, because it is happening today. Likely in 3 years, this is going to be way more advanced that I will talk today. So at least you start thinking on those lines. Does that make sense? You have, or you want to also hear something else as well? Okay, so let's moving ahead. So most important part that I would like to talk about is verbal communication. Whenever you are going, because see, at the end of the day, resume will be coming after you have put your thoughts in place. What you are exactly going to tell to the people, right? Uh, so your thought has to be pre-processed. You cannot be thinking that okay, I will appear in an interview, and then you will be coming up. So there are certain stuff that we call elevator pitch. So always create an elevator pitch. It's not like a 1 hour lecture, but it's a 30 seconds, 60 seconds kind of a thing where you need to have a very clear why somebody should look at it. What is that special about you? Degree, college, all of you are coming from the same background. You guys have a excellent college and the excellent education. Then how you are different? Now, always mind it in that if you are appearing for an interview at any point of time, that's first 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, that's all you have to design the conversation for rest of the 30 minutes or 1 hour. Because once the interviewer starts picking you and starts driving the conversation in particular direction, you don't have an opportunity to move in other direction or tell something else about yourself. So verbal communication, whenever you are talking about it, so that's why I've given you an example, elevator pitch. Again, this elevator pitch that I have written there can be a very generic thing, right? And I have left it generic. I'm not making it very specific. But you have to make this sentence, this kind of elevator pitch, something which is really telling about you and not a ripoff from somewhere on the internet, Google, GPT. Interviewer will know about all these tools way more than what you know, right? So be sure that you have an elevator pitch and you understand what you are talking about. And the next thing that we should be definitely talking about is non-verbal communication. Even today, I see people coming at 4 year, 5 year, 8 year experience. They will come to an interview with eyes not facing the person to whom you are talking. Normally, they prefer to have a camera off, say for example. Uh, Maybe they want to wear t-shirts. Maybe they don't want their body language is as such that they feel that he is not interested. Trust me, whether you are really interested or not, whatever you are doing, all these signals are going to decide because the person who is taking your interview is definitely picking clues from there. So be ready whenever you are there. So you are not only talking about verbal communication, but you are also talking about non-verbal, how confident you are, whom you are addressing. Do you have ability to use your hands or eyes to express yourself? Uh, Let me give you a simple example. Within our IT industry, not even 10% people can communicate effectively. This may sound you a very big number that hey, how can somebody say that not even 10% people can say, but just reach out to somebody who has spent like 15, 20 years in the industry and they will tell you. So people in their career will start peaking. So somebody will start peaking at a senior engineer level, somebody will start peaking at a team level, somebody will go and they will just like get a stagnant at a manager level. And why? It's not because they are not a Python programmer or a Java programmer, because their communication is not at the level that they can be given a leadership responsibility where they can just go and talk to a client or they can impress upon a client. And unknowingly you start blocking yourself. So be very clear about your verbal and non-verbal communication. And I was very impressed last time when I was engaged with the university and when the level of depth you guys are getting to understand, that really impressed me. So a lot of engineering students to whom they think that these papers can be passed, no, can you assimilate it? Because this is one thing will help you way more than any other subject. Similarly, when I say visual clues, again, I talked about already visual clues. That's part of a non-verbal communication. At no point of time, if somebody is presenting on a call, he should be looking at. So think about it. If my eyes are not facing you, I'm already. You may be already doubtful that I am reading from somewhere, and your interviewer is already not confident about you. And nowadays, you will see a lot of online interviews happen. So you have to make sure that whatever you are doing, your art and science of communication. Art is more about how you articulate things, but then science is also about some basic hygiene that you need to follow. Any questions on this one?
Students, if you have any questions, kindly post it as a message. Sir, we have a huge gathering, so it might be a little difficult to open the cameras. So,
Sure, sure. No worries. No worries. Towards end,
sir,
we can take questions.
yes, sir, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about something called ATS. I'm not sure how many of you are aware about it, but generative AI, I think everybody is aware, right? Generative AI, everybody thinks Chat GPT helping in assignment, doing all kinds of stuff. You're already aware. Now, what is happening is, and then you will go on the internet and try to download some template resumes and all, right? Let me disclose you something. Majority of those templates that you will design or download from internet, and you will put the graphics and some charts, some beautiful pictures, they are not ATS resumes. So, what is that ATS? ATS resumes are the resumes that can be directly processed by these computers. They should be able to read your resume. They should be able to extract the data out of it. They should be able to process the data. And then they should be able to classify the data. So, some of you who are from data science and who may have done some understanding, you know that the document classification happens or data classification happens. Nowadays, human classifying resumes has gone. So if your resume has got lot of graphics, lot of design, nobody cares about it because you will not be even shortlisted by the computer. So you don't go to a human. So if you have a MS Word, exposure to MS Word or some of the Star Office or something, always look for template that calls ATS friendly. So go and find the templates, those are ATS friendly, and only put your res- all your contents in the format a ATS friendly resume has been done. Also, there are a lot of job portals which allows you to upload your resume just to test, right? So all of us are software, we always want to test. Now you don't have a testing software to test whether your ATS resume is good or bad. But a lot of job portals, I don't want to promote any job portals, but you just go and look at any of the job portals where if you upload your resume and suddenly everything gets filled in onto your profile and without you manually putting any entries, most likely your ATS resume is great. But if it is not being processed, then most likely you have not created a right resume and you will always be struggling to get yourself shortlisted. Most of the time, shortlisting is not being done not because you don't have skills or your resume does not have the content. It could be that people are not able to see what is there because computer is not able to process you, right? So I hope you got this, that always use ATS friendly. These resumes don't look very interesting. Because when we get resumes, right, we get like hundreds of resume for like say 5 6 position. It's not humanly possible for me to read. We put it into our system goes into it, creates a summary, it automatically classifies, pulls up the right data. But if you create something which cannot be read by the system, or the data is in a, like you have put a lot of table inside it, or maybe a lot of graphs inside it will not be able to process it. And then you get into a trouble that you are not getting a shortlisted. So be always clear that if you are creating a resume, it has to have a ATS friendly resume, right? Now that's about text. Now nowadays the problem is a lot of offshore company, like you might have heard about GCC and majority like these big IT companies, they are all working for some onshore clients, right? Some of you may already have those aspirations to go onshore. Now, having an aspiration is one thing, but giving a confidence to your client means somebody who is going to hire you, what you are going to deliver. Are you capable enough? I have, in last 6 months, I have seen at least 4 cases where one in my own company, couple of on the other company, people resigned because juniors are getting an opportunity to go to US. Somebody is getting an opportunity to go to Canada. Somebody got hired from outside and automatically sent to Australia. And I am sitting on the same position for last 12 years or 15 years. Why I am not getting the opportunity? And you know what? Communication is making the difference. They don't want to send somebody on the side who cannot effectively communicate and create more confusion than solving a problem. Coding can be done from anywhere. So for that reason, how effectively you can pick such people? Now, one way is that I should talk to you and know whether you have a good decent communication or not, because you will always say that you have a decent communication, right? But from my side, how I can pre-screen, and there this video resumes play a excellent role. Again, these video resume are not your full resume that I talked about ATS. These are just an introduction that gives people a confidence that you have a personality that meets their requirements. And when I say personality, it includes your look, your presentation skills, how you talk on the camera, how you behave to certain things, how crisp and precise you are in your articulation. And that's how you will see that I have not said that a video resume is going to be like 2 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes. You see, technically, this is 1.5 minute, right? So this is all that you have to do. Now let's talk about some of it, like hook. What do you mean by hook? Hook is a word that nowadays in social media and especially on the video resume space, it's very well talked of. And what it means, it's basically something that catches somebody's attention. Because hook is, the simple hook is what? It's something that allows you to hold on to something, right? That's hook. So you have to, the first 20 seconds has to be something. You have to speak something which is unique, pleasing, and that gives a clear view about what you are. It's not about your resume, your skill, your career, your college. No, it's about grabbing attention, and that's only 20 seconds. So how energetic you are, how intelligent you are in your personality, so you have to just develop something called hook. And there are many videos on YouTube where you can see these 1.5 minute videos. You will see the first 30 seconds or 20 seconds, that's the hook. And then we have to talk about skills. And that's the main area. So you have to just spend like around 10 minutes, around 60 seconds for the skills. Now, what does this skill mean even? Because you will see as you will grow in your career, your skills will grow, your expertise will grow. And say, for example, some of you who are doing C++, I will not start talking about that I have done data structure, I have done graphs, I have done trees, I have done loops, I have done this. No, that's not what you are talking about. Out of this 60 seconds, all you are going to do is you are maximum going to consume around 15 seconds talking about just the names of the platforms that, so say for example, Python, Java, C++, Oracle, whatever. Just that should be around 10 to 15 seconds. But bigger part that you need to focus on is what you have delivered with them. That's the example. So say for example, you have worked on a e-commerce portal, or you have worked on a banking solution, or you have worked on a mortgage solution, or you have worked on a stock trading solution. So talk about the business problem you have solved with the help of the, because majority of your hiring will happen based on, because they understand that you are an engineer, you are in the market for a job of the engineering side, so they are expecting that minimum meeting that code writing skill you will have. But what you have solved with that code writing skill, that's also very important. And this is again, you are creating a video, right? You are not into an interactive session, right? So you are creating just a video, which essentially means this is all about unidirectional communication, and it's all about grabbing first hand attention. 90% of your time, 95% of your time, videos will be seen by the HR professionals. Very few times it will go to even the reporting managers. So if you start talking too much of detail on technology and not on the business side, what problem you solved, it's a problem. So let's be very specific, always highlight if it is, say, for example, you are going out of a campus, or say final year interview, or maybe internship. Talk about what you solved in the project. Not that what all library classes, extra you have just used and how it was done and so on. Nobody is interested. What you solved for. Because once you tell them what you have solved for, they have experienced enough to understand that what would have been the case, what are the different types of technology you may have used, they already know it. But if you use technology jargon, that's a problem. Because then they understand that this guy don't understand even his own work, what he is doing every day. And then, so I just stop there on the skill side, but make sure that you understand what I am talking about as skills. Skills is not about Java, Python, .NET, and all. Skills is about introducing on which platform you solved and what you solved. And then finally, in your video introduction, always talk about call to action. And which is what is call to action? How eager you are to engage. If there is a Git repository that you have, you invite people to look at your Git repository. If you have a LinkedIn where you have written a lot of blog posts, invite people to look at the blog post. Because those things will talk about your confidence, ability to explain, and it is not about just talking. it doesn't matter what level it is, because if you are fresh out of a campus, people will whom we had from campus, people will and interestingly, and this is very interesting,
Mr. Prabhat, I guess there might be some network issue from at your end. Uh, the voice and the audio, I mean the video are breaking.
hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? It
Yes, sir.
looks
Yes,
like
sir.
my connection got.
Yes, sir. There was in network failure in between. The audio and the
Yeah. So
video got disconnected.
okay. So we were on video resume. Is that the place where we stopped?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we continue now?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sir. Sure, please.
All right. So we are talking about the video resume, right? So I think we need to create a hook. We talk about skills, and just to summarize where we left, I don't know. So when you create a skills in the skill, you talk less about technology and more about what you solved for it. Even if it is your campus interview, talk about your projects. What was your project? What did you achieve out of it? Why did you select it? What was your contribution? Talk about those things rather than talking about that I use Java, I use Oracle, I use this. Nobody is interested because
So,
ultimately you will be
so sorry to
right.
interrupt. The screen isn't being shared, sir.
Okay. One second.
Can you please share your screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. So, so I was just talking about the video resumes. That's a very interesting topic. Unfortunately, this internet plays some tricks. But so just to summarize on this one, so video resume you definitely try to develop. All of you must be interested in blogging and so on, and creating your own YouTube and so on and so forth. So use those skills as your learning block. But when you actually create something which you are going to use for presenting yourself to a professional or for a professional career, keep these things in mind that you need to have a hook, you need to have a skills, and need to have a call to action. When I was talking about a girl whom we selected, then during training we didn't find her very enterprising, so we got, and again a bit of a market was also down. So we wanted her to do the QA. She was enterprising enough to do QA, but she always will come and tell me, "Hey, I wanted to do data science, but I'm not getting a data science job," and so on and so forth. And in one of those days, I saw her posting a small tool that they created on LinkedIn, and and I didn't look at the low level details of code, but on the basis of what we looked at, right? What I had gone through, right? And her ability to post her GitHub in public, right? To be willing to share her work in public, to be willing to uh, express her in public, that actually caught my eyes. And now she is one of the leading developer in data science. So never try to hide your GitHub, your LinkedIn profile, your posts, whatever is the different types of work that you have done, please include in your call to action. Just checking his audio is good.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Now let's talk about the interview prep framework, right? And again, this has to directly tie up to your resume what you created. A, a very popular method that we call it is called a star method, right? And what does a star stands for? Star stands for situation, task, action, and results. Now, if you are going to talk about anything at any point of time in your conversation, if you are talking about something, please talk about these four. When I say situation, which basically tells you what is the context of it, what was the reason behind your thought, why something was done. A business, you if you selected some project, why did you select that project? If you selected some, if your client came up with a project, why did he come up with a project? Because that's the starting genesis behind which you are starting your project. So until unless you give somebody the context, they will not be able to appreciate the task you performed, right? So we give the context, that's the situation, then talk about the task. And when I talk about the task, then it is very important because in my interviews, most of the time, especially in the campus, I have to ask about the task because the guy will keep on talking about the whole project. And then when you ask a specific, which was not done by him, then what happens? He will get into a conversation where negativity comes in. So you have to give the context, then you have to tell them what task you performed and how did you do it and what was the results. So any articulation that you make in your video resume or in the writing of your text resume, make sure that you are following a star method. It's difficult to begin with, it's difficult, but then you have time. But if you have these four bullet points inside your thought process, your articulation can be easily around it. You will start writing some very crude stuff around situation, task, action, and results. Maybe you can use GPT and give it to him, hey, this is what my star situation is, convert it into a narration. They will give you a narration. But if you don't, then primarily your recitation may be incomplete. You're not sharing all the data that your interviewer may be looking for. So, interview prep framework is very important. And then I have also talked about a platform called PRAMP. I'm sure your organization itself has got, and your teachers must be guiding, and the placement cell must be guiding. But then there are tools, and nowadays kids really like to have, uh, you know, they want to live in digital wave. So something like PRAMP can help you to do this. If you are not very familiar or you're not very open to talking to humans, go and look at PRAMP. PRAMP may be able to help you how to prepare for an interview. Now, some mistakes, and I would say that we already talked about in the beginning, but let's talk about one more time, just to reiterate. Poor body language. So, think about it. Just because you are not willing to, just because you are not looking very sharp, or you are trying to avoid eyes, you are allowing the other person to guess something about you. You are just leaving him to imagination. Is that a right thing to do? I think that could be a challenge. And then the next thing is jargons. First and foremost, avoid using jargons, because jargons, first of all, the people person you are addressing, he may not be familiar with the jargon. So something which is very common in a RDBMS may not be a very common thing for a front-end developer. So avoid using jargon, use elaboration rather. Do clear explanation, especially the short forms, which we use in social media today. Those kind of things definitely needs to be avoided, because if you do any of those things, especially using terms but not explaining it, explanations are missing, people already understand that you are picking some word from somewhere. Either you have just mugged something, or on a screen something is open which you are not comprehending, you are just taking some words. Because you have to always think about that somebody who's interviewing is senior, he has gone through this journey, he understands what all you can do. So having a good body language, avoiding jargons, being very clear in your articulation, and being confident is very important. Most important part. If you get an opportunity during an interview, be ready with your questions. Because if you are not ready with the questions about the company, so two things. One, be ready with your study of the company. You are appearing for a company called TCS. What is your study about TCS? Or Deloitte, it's a, what is your study about Deloitte? It cannot be that you, oh, this is, they're a very good company, they pay a lot of money. That's not something they want to listen. They may be willing to listen that you are applying for a data science job. So you may want to listen about some of the white papers that say, for example, in Deloitte, what Deloitte has published, or what were the different revenue that they generated last time, or how big the company's data science team is, or what was the recent seminar that did Deloitte done. Because that gives a clear indication to the hiring person that you have interest in the company. And if you have not studied, that's also fine, but you should have some questions so that people will get this sense that yes, this person has interest. This person understands the overall ecosystem. This person is really committed to the company and not he is just scouting for a job. So common interview mistakes must be in your mind whenever you are appearing for an interview. And then this is my way of thinking. This is no structured. The one thing that I definitely want to tell you is that something like this should be your roadmap. This is nothing unusual. I don't want to take a lot of your time. But all I'm saying is, first of all, don't color yourself with somebody always telling you do AI or non-AI or Java or .NET. See where you fit in: security, network, systems, whatever. But then there are forums. Whatever you pick in the first line, right? Then there is a forums related to it. I just wrote coding club, but it's not necessarily coding club. So there are security forums, there are network forum, there are system forums, there are data science forum. You should pick some of those and try to read, because this is the time when you are creating your base. Second, you are try to get certification and something concrete in your portfolio. Now that cannot be a kind of a spaceship, but something that you have built. Bring something in. The third year should be your focus on LinkedIn networking, because LinkedIn, I get a lot of invite from students. This could also be a way of listening to the people who are senior in the industry. Just go and follow them. Nothing will happen, then at least they post certain things and you will know that what is happening, what these guys are even talking about. Most of the time, I mean, people don't want to believe that the reality is you will not be grounded till the time you are really talking to those people, or you are at least reading those people. And then the fourth year you may want to do some specialization, and each one, and this journey should definitely reflect in your resume, which gives a people a confidence that you are a serious person. You started everything from the time we got into the college, and you have learned over, and not really it's an afterthought that you suddenly got into the fourth year and now you are preparing for the internship, or you are preparing for that placement, and now you are just struggling to do a 3 months course. At least I, whenever look at somebody who has a very something like this progression in his resume, most likely I go ahead and select them. Now, some things we definitely want to talk about, that is emerging trends, and I said about this in the beginning. The first is resume scanners. So now industry has created resume scanners. They will scan your resume and humans will not touch it till the time the AI systems are resuming. So you really need to be very convergent with the fact that how these resume scanners work. What are the how the tagging works, how the entity works, how the different type of classification works. ATS resume, I already talked about those things so that it works well. The second thing that I should talk about is virtual interview avatars. I don't know how many of you have seen, but virtual interview avatars are already in place. These are actually the virtual interviewers. It's not like an online writing, those proctored exam. No, these are, you will feel like that a human is taking your interview, but it's not. And passing those interview is sometimes very easy and other times very tough. And what does it mean? Very easy in the sense that if you know how these avatars work, so these avatars are not as intelligent as it sounds, but they are very precise. They will not understand your, uh, you know, long stories and irrelevant discussions and your family time, and so on and so forth are your problems. And so, no, they don't understand any of it. They will understand few lines from you, which is exactly correlating to the question they asked. So it is usually a very precise question answer. If you can just highlight those keywords, you can just highlight one couple of lines, they will just clean you. They will just get, okay, good. And then we definitely need to talk about something called SEO, which is traditionally people used to call search engine optimization. Now it's different. Now this AI optimization. So you have to look at your resume and see what all you can put into the resume so that it is optimized for AI scans. And these things are easy. This is not difficult. It may be because I'm just talking to you on a monologue and I'm not able to answer your question. But this is easy, right? This is not so if you use some GPT or some kind of a LLM, they will already tell you what keywords to use, right? But making sure that you put enough effort in your resume, whether it is a video resume, audio resume, how you present it, that's important. Don't think that you will start copying from one of your friend and you will get something, because unfortunately AI nowadays is smart enough to know that these resumes are replicated. Just the names have changed or some very basic items have changed and everything is replicated. AI can make out very easily, and they just reject those resumes. So I just wanted to make sure that we understand that emerging trends need you to be more smart than what used to be the need in past. Now, I'll just stop there, right? Any questions that you have, and before I conclude.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Priyanshi, I think you have a question. Please go ahead.
Unmute for you.
You raise your hand. What happened? Yes, Priyanshi Hetal Kumar. Unmute and ask your question.
Sir, Srinivasan sir, I guess
Yes, yes,
that they're on the way to the next class, sir.
yes, sure. Oh,
So Prabhat sir,
uh,
since the children need to go to another class, they might not have questions this time for them. So I now request Dr. Srinivasan to propose the vote of thanks.
good evening, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and for enlightening our students with all that is important in their career growth. You gave them a very good industry perspective. While we've been teaching all these, but when it comes from an industry expert like you, it makes all of a great difference to the students. And I'm sure that the students would have taken some very good lessons from you today, which will be of immense help in their future. And it was a very enlivening session. As teachers, we also learned many good things from you today, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your time, for enlightening our students, and for giving good perspectives about uh, how to face interviews and how to build effective video resumes. It was wonderful. Thank you very much. And
Thank
I
you so much.
also thank Christopher sir for organizing this and making it happen. Thank you, Christopher sir. Thank you, Shahul
Thank
sir
you.
and Gayatri ma'am also for being part of this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
Well,
you very much.
Christopher sir, I joined Dr. Srinivasan sir, like to thank Mr. Prabhat Kumar and you for having arranged this wonderful session on behalf of my students, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And thanks to all the students also for joining this video lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
students.
you.
Prabhat sir, thank you so very much. I know it's been a very busy week, and thank you for taking time out in enlightening our students and sharing your expertise. Thank you very much, sir.
Always pleasure, sir. Thank you. You have
Thank
the.
you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you, sir. End. Thank you.